happening, Blades? So, signed off with a great result. I'd say a very good second half performance, particularly for first half hour at second half. Really good. Could have gone either way, really, that game. We gave up a few chances. Never nice to see players get injured. But I do think Clark coming into the side for Robinson makes us stronger. And I touched on that earlier, but a great result with another patchwork team. If I'm honest, I'd have taken a draw, and to get the win is just fantastic for us going into break. So, Hecky, I've had a few comments and a few messages about being anti-Hecky, and I just want to put some of it to bed really, and just give a bit of thought behind why I can be critical at times of Hecky. One thing I will say, and I'll caveat it with, you can't argue with the vast majority of the job he's doing. If you combine his results over a full season, because he's been in charge equivalent now of a full championship season, where it's promotion form, and sitting in second spot, going into break, with injury crisis we've had, how can anybody complain? Well, I'm going to tell you a little bit about why I complain, and it's not much, it's just picking a little bit, because I think we should be 5-6 points, probably more, better off than we are. And I think it's always very difficult, because I'm holding him to an high standard in Wilder, and he's got a better win ratio than Wilder. He's certainly more board friendly, if you like, for want of a better term. He's sort of, you know, that there's, or it appears that there's much calmer waters upstairs and filtering all the way down the club. It seems a much more settled setup. Although we have seen odd ripple. There's no, I don't think Hecky's a yes man by any means. I think you saw that from his Alan Biggs interview. And this is nothing personal against Hecky. This is just my personal opinion on where I think he can improve, and where I think he's maybe found wanting a little bit. So when we got promoted from the Championship last time round, we were in a league with Norwich under Farker, who had Timu Pukki in his pomp. We had Max Aarons, who were the next big thing at that time, and a sensation, and Emi Buendia, who's now playing regular Premier League football. We had Leeds under Bielsa, a steam train coming. They were ploughing through everybody. The old Kevin Keegan will score more than we concede, throwing caution to the wind every week and being muppets basically, as was noted at the time. We had Villa in the same league as us, with Jack Grealish and John McGinn and Tammy Abraham. We had West Brom with Dwight Gale, who were actually scoring goals at that time, and Jay Rodriguez and Harvey Barnes. We had Derby in the league with Harry Wilson and Mason Mount in the ranks. It was a ridiculous league in terms of talent that were in there, and pound for pound, we weren't the second best team in the league, but we had a spirit and we had a grit and a determination that saw us off at line, a never say die attitude that us fans fell in love with. We had a blade at the helm, which is very rare that you get somebody who's one of your own leading the charge with such passion and desire. And it were a magical time, but the league was tough and we outperformed our ability. Fast forward to 2022-23 season, we have got, in my opinion, and this is all this is, and this is my opportunity to vent, my platform to vent, if you like, and I'm happy for people to come back at me. We have the best squad in the league by some stretch. I love Mark Duffy. He will go down as a lane legend, and not just for being the bounce slayer, but he was a huge pivotal part in our promotion. But if you picked Mark Duffy or Sander Berger, there's no comparison. Consistency, you might argue there is, but in terms of quality, that's just one example. Sander Berger is head and shoulders above. Anel is head and shoulders above where Basham was even in that season, even though Basham's a superb servant. And I just think the quality we've got now and strength in depth, yes, we've had an injury crisis, and even the deepest of squads, you don't get 3 or 4 left wing backs just in case. You don't get 3 or 4 quality left centre halves just in case. You know, we're going to be down to bare bones, and we have been, and that's why we've dropped some points. But when I've come on and commented about games, we've lost a game or not turned a game by sometimes questionable in-game decisions. I think the one thing I'd say about Hecky is he's a very intelligent manager, and he can put together a game plan pre-match with his team and set us up fairly well, because it's very rare that we start a game and we've got it wrong. It has happened, but it's very rare. The problem comes is mid-game. If somebody changes their style to adapt because we're all over them, or they park the bus, we cannot find a plan B. And, you know, sometimes in years gone by, and I won't keep referring back to Wilder, but it's the obvious comparison, we'd throw caution to the wind and we'd go for it. We won't get any 0-1 to Rotherham's, or very, very rare where players just weren't up for it. We'd have had third striker on and fourth striker on, and it doesn't seem to happen. We don't get any game-changing substitutions where you think that were brilliant. I said this in wake of McAtee coming on and having his best half in a Blade shirt, and all power to the kid, because he hadn't looked up to it for me, and that hopefully is making of him, and he has a great second half of the season. But again, that game could have gone either way for me. We certainly want a dominant performance from us, although we were certainly the better team for the first part of the second half. So that's one thing I'd question with him, is his in-game management, the substitutions he sometimes looks to make. I think they're very samey, they're very safe. You know, usually it'd be Fleck for McAtee and slot you in the same position. Sharp on for McBurney, which is, you know, it's the different players, but it's striker for striker, and you don't really get anything mixed up. Not often enough anyway for me to change a game. So these are just little things that I think Hecky can improve on. Don't need major surgery at all, but with the talent that we've got in this squad, and if you think about some names to come back, you know, Berger, McBurney in full flight, and Nell's obviously been down with injury, but now that Clark's back, Doyle hopefully comes back into the team. I have Baldock as my starting right wing back, but you can also have Bogle, Reece Norrington Davis, even at left centre half, or left wing back, Max Lowe. It's such quality to come in, and I hope we do it, and I think we've got enough to do it this season, and I'll back him all the way. But I can come on and I can try and justify why I think Hecky's got work to do, because, and this may be the controversial line of the whole video, but if Chris Wilder's in charge of this squad, we are 8, 9, 10 points clear of everybody else at the moment. That's my opinion, and I'm happy to take yours. I'll still support him. I'm a Blade. I want us to do well. But let me know what you think. Up the Blades.